Hey guys! In today's video, we're going to be focusing in on some Sisley powders. Loose powder, Blur Expert powder, and pressed powder. Today I want to focus in on each product. I want to get nice and close and demo them for you. In my recent full face of Sisley, I mentioned that I'd like to come back and kind of focus in on particular products. And we're going to start off today with powders. So let's go ahead and get started. Hi again, I'm Mo, which is short for Monique. Here on my channel, I test out, review, and share all things luxury, beauty, and skincare. If you're into that stuff, consider subscribing. And if you like today's video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Sisley has been a longtime favorite of mine. I started off with their skincare, which I still use to this day, staples in my skincare routine. But when it comes to the makeup, there's just something about it. Whenever I use it, I always feel so polished and put together without looking like I did too much. It's a beautiful balance, and I love the ingredients, and I love the way it makes me feel. And I'm really happy that I'm able to share particulars from the brand with you. As we go, I do have other Sisley products that I will be sharing with you as well. So for starters, let's start off with the Sisley Blur Expert powder. This is a perfecting and smoothing powder. Now, fair warning, disclaimer, I use all of these products a ton, so they're not in new, perfect, and pretty, pristine condition. But this is the Sisley Blur Expert powder. It's the Insta Sisley filter that creates ultra luminous, perfect skin in a single stroke, and it lasts all day. Now, the Blur Expert powder is a very fine powder. It claims to perfect and blur and smooth the skin while giving you that luminous matte finish. There are a couple of ways that you can use this powder. You can do your skincare, and if you're just really going for an absolutely the least type of effort, you take a nice fluffy brush and dust it all over the face after your skincare. You're out the door. It gives you a very soft, blurred look. You can also use it after makeup to just finish your makeup or to touch up throughout the day. But for me, personally, the way that I like to use it and the way that I will be sharing with you is I like to use it as more so a primer. I do still use my double tenseur, but then I will go in with this and focus it on the areas that I want to blur. Now, in all honesty, there is absolutely no miracle product out there that I have found that is going to completely get rid of all of your flaws, but you'll get pretty close, you know? So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and apply my double tenseur, and then we'll get nice and close and I will show you how the Blur Expert powder applies. They do say that this powder is colorless. I disagree, and you will see that it is not. And that's okay because the way that I use it, it gets covered anyways, but I just wanted to let you know that. I'm going to be using my Chantecaille Buff and Blur brush. This brush is fairly dense, but I still have good movement. This brush definitely allows me to place the product where I need so I can focus it on my areas of concern per se. I do have a little friend up here. He says hello. We're going to name him Jolly. Last time we had Frank. Now we have Jolly. Anywho. I am going to focus the powder just in this area. So I like to just more so stamp the product in that area instead of buffing so that I can really get the effect. So doing light little stamping motions. And then a little on your nose, just a little bit. So, now as you can see, the areas that I did apply the powder, there is a little bit of color. It's not completely colorless, but that doesn't really affect things for me because once I go over with my foundation or my skin tint, can't really see it, and I do get that nice little soft extra blur in that area. So we're just going to stamp it into the skin. And I go in with just a little tiny bit on my forehead. And I do this area more so because I am combination skin. It kind of keeps me a little less shiny, just a little bit. Hello there. Can't hide much this close now, can I? So this is what my skin looks like after we applied the Blur Expert powder. It's a very nice, soft, blurred effect. I'm going to go in with the tinted moisturizer and the concealer, and then we're going to move on to the next powder. Now, shall we? This is the Loose Face Powder with hibiscus flower extract. I have her in the shade number 4, and it's described as a beauty enhancing loose powder, light as veil and as soft as a caress. Unifies and mattifies the complexion, smooths and visibly refines the skin's texture. Preserves skin's hydration, suppleness, giving a sensation of comfort all day long. You can use this just like any other traditional loose powder. You can get a nice big fluffy brush and dust it all over. You can kind of keep it where you want it. You can use the puff. This does a beautiful job at setting your makeup without sucking into hydrating your skin. I do find it to be a very comfortable powder that gives a smooth matte finish to the skin, more so along the lines of a modern matte, whereas you're not completely flat and dry. You can still see some hydration in the skin, but it's smoothed over matte-esque kind of finish. So this is what the powder looks like now. Let me tell you, this is such a smooth, silky, finely milled powder. It literally blends away. Like, it does have a color, it does have a tint to it. And I know I read it said it was completely translucent, but there is a little bit of color there. But I will say that once you blend it into the skin, it does not leave like a major tint. I personally like to set my under eye with my damp sponge and just kind of press it into the skin. But it does beautiful with a brush, like very light and easy. Oh my gosh, that's so much powder. It literally just melts and blends into the skin. Gives me a little bit of a brightened effect and just sets everything in place so nicely. So here we are not set, and then here we're set. I'm getting this close so you can see how, yeah, I'm using powder, but it doesn't look cakey on the skin. And for the rest of the face, we have the pressed powder. This is the pressed powder mattifying and beautifying. Again, guys, I use my makeup, and this one I actually have a little story to tell you. But this one comes with the mirror and the little poof. I have it in the shade number 3, Sandy. So the reason my powder looks like this is because I had it set on my vanity open, and I was spraying my setting spray. I know, it's my fault. That was a rookie move, but that's why my powder looks like that. They have a total of 4 shades. This is number 3, Sandy. I know it looks like it's a lot lighter than me, but it pretty much blends into the skin and I can't even tell or see anything. So the Phyto Poudre Compact number 3 Sandy creates a perfectly smooth, velvety complexion with a second skin formula and an incomparable comfort and softness. It's ultra soft and creamy. It blends instantly into the skin for a soothing sensation and a velvety feel with no powdery finish. So this formula is enriched with cocoa, mango, and cacao butters. I'm sorry, so forgive me in advance. It also has hibiscus flower extract that brings comfort and hydration to the skin. So it also claims to blur wrinkles and fine lines while adhering perfectly to the skin and improving hold. Suitable for all skin types, and the coverage is buildable for a radiant, perfectly even, and beautified complexion to suit your mood. If you want to keep things light and do a light little dust, you use a nice powder brush, a fluffy powder brush. Or if you want a little more intensity, they suggest that you use the little puff. I like to use a fluffy brush. This one is a collaboration that Beautylish did with Chikuhodo. But, you know, it's just a regular fluffy brush. So I just swirl around and pick up some product. And then I just lightly pat it into the skin. And it really doesn't give too much color, thankfully, because I was so nervous when I purchased it and I got it. I was like, oh my gosh, that is so light. So now, after all of those powders, here's what the skin looks like. It doesn't look like I have on 3 different powders. No, does it? So I'm going to finish up the rest of my face makeup. Everything I use will be listed down below. Heads up, it's lots of Sisley. And I'll be back. We'll chat packaging and my little overall on the powder. Here is a look at the skin now that everything is applied. Okay, let's chat. So let's talk packaging really quick, because when it comes to this price range, I feel the packaging is important. Starting off with the Blur Expert powder, I think the packaging is on par with the brand. It feels nice. It's not anything too over the top, but it's nice and luxe. Feels good in the hand. It's simple packaging. You know, it opens all the way. You get a nice mirror. Product itself, I like. It gives a soft blurring effect to the areas that I focus it on underneath foundation. I used to use it on top of foundation and I liked it, but once I tried it prior to foundation, more so like a primer, loved it. Loved it way, 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 way more. It's a nice little step you can take to just perfect. Now the loose powder packaging, I hate it. But I'm willing to look beyond that because the actual powder is so good. And I just, you know, I twist off the top and I just use the actual powder, and I literally just could do without this part. But the reason I really dislike the packaging so much is, do you see this? You see? There's just holes. There's no locking mechanism. There's no sifter. One day, I literally tapped it with another product and oh my goodness, it was a mess. And I was just like, no. And the mirror is always messy. I promise I'm not being a brat. I promise. Okay. Look at the By Terry. Take a look at the By Terry powder. Okay. The holes are so tiny that you have to knock it to get your product. Okay. I can deal with that. Look at the La Prairie. The La Prairie, it's still messy, but this actually, it comes with a locking mechanism. So I can turn it off or turn it on when I want it. Okay. Look at the Marc Jacobs. You have an actual sifter. You know, so I don't like the packaging on the loose powder, but if you're careful, or, you know, I guess we could maybe have the argument of loose powders are messy in general. What are you complaining about? We could totally have that argument too. But personally, I don't like the packaging. Love the product. Of all of the powders, this is my favorite. This is a top 5 for me. Top 5. let me not even turn it because it's going to make a mess. I got jokes. Anyways, the performance of this is beautiful. I love how it sets my makeup in place, but it's not cakey and heavy, and it just looks beautiful. I love this powder so much. I just do not like the packaging. Now, when it comes to the newest powder, the newest kid on the block from Sisley, the pressed powder, I do honestly feel that this is the loose powder pressed. In all honesty, I could live without this. And it's not to say that the product is bad. It's just, if I had to pick, I would pick these two immediately and be totally good with them. Blur a particular area, do my face set with this. Good. Touching on the packaging really quick. This has to be the cheapest packaging that I've ever gotten from Sisley. And I expect a lot from Sisley because they're not shy with their prices. It's literally like a cheap, light plastic. The design is really cool. It's, it's the Sisley design. And they give you this little pouch. But packaging to the side, the product isn't bad. I'm not trying to bash the product too much. We're just talking, okay? We're just talking. So those are all of my Sisley powders that I wanted to share with you. I will have more dedicated Sisley videos coming up. I am working on my Sisley playlist, so check there if you want to see other Sisley videos. Don't forget to give today's video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't. Thank you so much for letting me share these Sisley powders with you. Stay beautiful, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.